Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. John Mason. I'm with Laura Abernathy, who's the president of the Tree of Life Sanctuary. And we have a topic that we'd like to talk to you today about and maybe get you involved with. Hi, Laura. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Good. Our topic that we picked today, because we're thinking about having a group or class or some sort of sharing within our community about, is the concept of legacy.
Mhm.
And to be real clear about it, we'd like to give you a little definition from our perspective on what we're talking about. And we'd like to address why it's important for you, the viewer, and for all of us to participate within. Laura, did you want to get started on this?
Absolutely. You know, the thing that first comes to my mind is when people hear the term legacy in the Western culture, societal culture, I'll say for sure, they tend to think it's related to what somebody leaves you after they've died. And it's usually related to material things such as money or real estate, things like that, things of material value. And that's all fine. However, the other meaning of legacy, actually, if you look it up in the dictionary, is that it is the long lasting impact of a person's life. The long lasting impact of a person's life. And so, what we all have that legacy in that vein, no matter whether we left any kind of material uh, be, creations behind, or it was our life, the influence of our life on the future generations, the future decades of life on Earth. So um, that's that's what we mean when we're talking about a legacy. Another way of describing a legacy in that vein is called life purpose, also a person's life mission.
Thank you.
Mhm.
To put this into perspective so the viewer gets the point, I believe that viewing our purpose, our legacy, our mission is not just an exercise that we put down on paper. It's for us to consider this because we want to plan. We want to make a plan. We want to live our lives in a certain way. And so I ask you to consider, not at this moment, right now in time, if you haven't considered this before, we're not asking you to write down a long-term plan. We're asking you to consider, how do you want to be remembered? If you were to write your own eulogy, what would you want people to say about you? What was the service, the purpose, the support, the energy, whatever it is that you gave, not just to the immediate family, but your community and the world around you? How do you want to be remembered? Because if you can put that down, then maybe you can look backwards and find a step by step plan so that each and every day you can actually be engaged in those things and influence the situation or the people around you in the most supportive way so that you can be remembered in those
Yep.
terms. How is that, Laura? Does that sound
Oh,
reasonable?
absolutely, absolutely. In fact, that's part of the method I teach. Is a person projects themselves forward to their own memorial, and it's a more of a meditative, ruminating type of experience that a person has when they do this. But that's the essence of it. What do you want them to be saying about you when they're
Ex-
at your memorial?
yes. And
Yeah. Hmm.
and and to back that off is, I mean, when I turned 60 years old, which was about maybe about 147 years ago, I not until I turned 60 though, did
Yeah.
I ever consider what my
Hmm.
legacy might be and how I wanted to pursue my life in a way
Hmm.
that was true to what I considered that plan for legacy is. So and it does take a little bit of time. I think being in a group, having this conversation will add perspective on what is possible and various things to consider or to attempt or try if it feels appropriate for you in your life, so that you can live each and every day, or at least begin to move in that direction, living each and every day, not only present, but engaged in what your long-term goal might be.
Mhm.
And I mean, I have to admit, there's, if you want your name on the wing of a hospital, um, just remember, a lot of people want to see their name and be regarded in the community as, a large donation of service or finances. And I question whether, I mean, I definitely love that, and that's a purpose. And
Mhm.
I wonder whether that's somebody who wants to be recognized, or if somebody really wants to engage in a life that has such value that it actually gets noticed. And
Mhm.
we're not all, there's not enough hospitals for us all to, or money for us
Mhm.
all to have a wing of a hospital named after us. So that may not be the audience for this particular video.
Mhm. Mhm.
And what, Laura, you addressed the fact that you've done this in the past. Could you just give us a
Mhm.
little of your background as far as, what you've done and the way you go about doing that?
Well, um, I I'm the founder of the Tree of Life Sanctuary and also the president. And I wear many hats right now because we're going through an expansion by having the Seekers Library available, much more accessible to our community. And so I've been at this almost 30 years, the Tree of Life Sanctuary. I founded it in 1997. And really what is relative to what we're talking about here today of life purpose, that happened because I did that inner work. And I also asked myself some questions that I hadn't thought of that others had proposed I consider about myself, about my life, to answer my question of why am I here? Those are the key questions. Who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? And so I was soaking in that. It's like somebody filled a jar with all that kind of questioning energy, and I was in that until I was like 18, and then I started finding some of the ways to get the answers. And I just first of all had to do the work for myself. I found a spiritual school of the soul that really worked for me. It was based on Hermetic Kabbalah, and I did the work. And then once I had the results that I wanted to have, such as a solid connection with my higher, aka wise self. Some people call it holy guardian angel. And then along with that comes a greater connection with source, whatever you call the creator, God. There's lots of different ways to describe that. And it just got really clear to me that after having acquired and fulfilled all of this for myself, I really wanted to give back. I wanted to help others do this. And that's why I started the Tree of Life Sanctuary. And it's a turtle organization. It's a 501c3 not for profit, and it has progressed very slowly, which suits me just fine. And so that's why it's been around 30 years and a lot of people haven't heard of it yet. But we're now at a phase where we're becoming much more known, prominent, and we're doing things like this so we can continue. So I, through the Tree of Life Sanctuary and everybody that's become involved in it, can do that very thing to uncover the divine and spiritual seekers by nurturing self exploration.
Thank you. You
Mhm.
know, you're living your legacy,
Yes, I
your
am.
purpose.
Hmm.
Not everybody gets a chance to do that in a material way, creating a community or a
Hmm.
resource like the Tree of Life Sanctuary and the Seeker's Library.
Hmm.
But a little bit like that tree that's behind me,
Hmm.
our lives can be random. We can find many directions. The branches go in seemingly an unscheduled, an unplanned way. But each and every one of them, when you contrast each and every movement, every activity, your experience, your connections with people, every one of them is going to stand out against the sky of our lives and be something that leads us to feeling a life fulfilled,
Hmm.
a life that's been lived on purpose, and a life that has no regrets.
Hmm.
And those are the kind of things that I don't wake up every morning and consider that, but there are times during the holidays or during certain periods of the year where you look back and reflect on things and you say, what am I doing and where have I been and where do I want to go?
Hmm.
So that each and every day you can say, when I walk down the street and I see other people, some of them are struggling, some of them are filled with joy. No matter who they are, they deserve a smile, they deserve
Yeah.
recognition. To look them in the eyes and appreciate them for whoever they are and wherever they are at that stage in their life.
Hmm.
And with that support, they'll know that they've been recognized, they're
Yes.
acknowledged, and
Yes.
perhaps maybe a feeling of love or care or concern that we can offer these people. So I'm throwing this out there as maybe one of those things you might want to consider doing as part of your legacy.
Hmm.
Just greet the people in the world that you meet with less judgment, or at least negative judgment, because sometimes the judgment is, wow, look how joyful they are. I'd love to be like that, which would be great.
Yeah.
But you can be that person and you
Hmm.
can beam the care and acceptance and love
Hmm.
to people. And maybe that would be something that you would like to do that doesn't cost you any money, a little time, a little
Hmm.
energy, but it doesn't have to be expensive.
Yes. And on that, I'd like to also add, John, that when we talk about fulfilling or discovering your life purpose, which is really kind of the beginning of it, um, it does. First of all, it doesn't happen all in one weekend. You can get a lot of distance there in a weekend. Excuse me. See, I forget to turn down my phone before a Zoom recording, so you can see I am not perfect. So the key is that you uh, it doesn't matter to have a life purpose. It doesn't have to be grand. That's the important thing to remember. You know, there's there are tremendous influences that happen just in how a woman mothers her children, how a father parents fathers their children. Um, the there's a lot, the arena of your day-to-day employment, or whether or if you have your own business, it the connections that you have with other people are that's a valid platform. We can be fulfilling our life purpose in any kind of scenario. One is not better than the other. You can be a senator in Congress, or you can be a trash man picking up trash from people's homes. There's there is no requirement that your purpose be grand or cost money. That's really important to remember. Okay.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And yeah, I know that the politicians don't have value, and it really is critical for the people who are picking up my garbage. And I want to throw out,
I love those people. They're awesome.
they're hardworking people
Yes.
doing something that most of us can't do. Not
Yes.
that not that we necessarily don't want to do it. It
Hmm.
just is they have the truck.
Hmm. Yeah, they have the truck.
I want to throw out one more concept.
Uh-huh.
No matter what you pick in your life, like as your legacy, how you want to be remembered,
Hmm.
try to be aware that when you do something in the world, when you offer something, when you give somebody, when you support or love someone, be aware of what that does for you. Be aware of why you're doing it. Because many times I catch myself offering something because I want to pat myself on the back.
Hmm.
My ego wants something in return.
Hmm.
I feel really blessed when I'm allowed to reach out and give with no strings attached,
Hmm.
to smile and not expect a smile in return.
Hmm.
And whatever gesture you make, you know, ask yourself what's in it for you,
Hmm.
but if you can learn from that and offer it as freely as possible so that it's given from your heart and not from some thought or need or
Hmm.
requirement that your
Hmm.
ego might add
Hmm.
to these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where self-exploration plays a big role here. The more one knows thyself, really what what parts of you are your is your soul, your authentic self coming through versus lower states of consciousness, which are different faces of the ego. And it's not we're not bad, evil people when, on the times when we just feel crummy and grumpy and angry at the current circumstances of the world. That's normal. It's just to recognize that when we're in that state, we are in one of the lower states of consciousness, and we have choice as to where we want to be. But when those negative or more negative, lower energy consciousness states are happening, that's where we can really learn a lot about ourselves and be able to identify, like you're saying, where is this desire to connect with others coming from in this moment.
Yes, and I also want to throw in the idea that we've all lived our lives, and each one of our lives, from a divine perspective, is perfect.
Hmm.
There is no way you can do this wrong. No matter what you choose, no matter what you've seen or done, experienced, offered in your life, each one of those things is perfect from a certain divine perspective.
Hmm.
Even when you've made a mistake or you look back and you regret something that you've done or the way you went about doing it, it was an experience that you learned from, and hopefully the people that you interacted with got something that they needed at
Hmm.
some level. And whether it's I don't want to ever do that myself. I
Hmm. Yeah.
that was terrible.
Yeah.
I've learned that that's not what I want to do.
Exactly.
Whatever your perspective is, each
Hmm.
interaction is perfect and a blessing.
Hmm.
And there's no way you can get this wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I know so many people later in life, they kind of feel the world closing in on themselves and they start to withdraw and
Hmm.
they say, I didn't get to do all of the things on my bucket list.
Hmm.
Well, right now I'm encouraging you to just make a bucket list and try to get those things done. But
Hmm.
each thing that you do and the way you live your life day in and day out has been perfect.
Hmm.
And it's been something that if you're conscious, like Laura says, if you're aware of things and your consciousness is raised,
Hmm.
sometimes the lesson that you learn is what not to do, or the example and model that you can be of what not to be in life
Mhm.
is really a beneficial thing for the people that you interact with.
Mhm.
So if we have some weaknesses or flaws, there's a
Mhm.
certain perfection in each and every one of those. And again, I'll say it again, there's no way you can do this wrong.
Mhm. Mhm.
What do you think, Laura?
Oh, absolutely. Human beings are such a curious creature for source or the divine to be operating in because, you know, humans got some problems. However, when you think about the big picture, step back and look at the long history, how long this species has been on the planet and the evolution of it, the humans evolved into what they are today, we're talking about a lot of years and a lot of people. And so if it took us a long time to get where we're at, and now we are way more aware and conscious. Oh, some people call that woke, by the way. I'm, it's like woke is really a good thing. Being awake and aware to what life is really full of and what it has to offer us, the positives. It's a really difficult planet to be living on. There's a lot of suffering, but there's an equal amount of joy and awesome experiences. So if things are getting a person down, depressed or angry or paralyzed, some people get paralyzed and those lower states of perspectives and consciousness, that can be transformed into uncovering what you feel you would like to do to make things better. And so that's one of the things that why we're talking about this here in November of 2024. Excuse me, 25. My brain is still awesome, but it's not perfect. Every once in a while, I do time travel. Anyway, um, the the essence is that we can raise the evolution of our species by holding the center when times are difficult, like right now, and doing what we can to continue to move forward without losing too much ground in terms of the evolution of our species towards that concept of homo luminous. And people define that in different ways, but the essence of it is where most of the majority of the humans on the planet are operating from a high level of consciousness, which means compassion, love, trust, working together, and moving beyond, finding ways to move beyond the lower states of consciousness that include things like judgment, resentment, and victim attitude, things like that. So there's things that can be done today that that will help our viewers get in touch with the answer of how can I help right now? How can I help? It can, of course, financially helping in different ways, whatever you can, is a great thing because money is part of life right now. The There's lots of ways that you can help without spending a dime
Mhm.
by having a conversation with a person or getting clarity about who you really are so that you can put yourself in environments of other people that are going to support you and harmonize. And there's power in the numbers. And it's easier when a bunch of people who are on the same wavelength are going forward on a project. It makes it easier for everybody. So, for the people that are feeling like they want to help, they want to do something today, I'm sure that you found things already, those of you watching, that have been fulfilling for you, and that's great. John and I commend you for that. We need people to continue to do that. However, you could take it deeper if you feel like you want to.
Yes, thank you. And
Hmm.
I, while you were talking, so many things came to my mind, and and if you can tell us where in the world that you are, send us a note or a message so that we can figure out whether we want to meet in person or whether we're going to meet online.
Hmm.
Those are great. But if you
Hmm.
don't take anything else away from our meeting today, consider your life. Are you living by someone else's expectations, or do you want to really identify how you want to be in the world? And whether your life of services is going to be as simple as being a non judgmental witness to somebody else's story or their pain so that they can feel heard and loved and cared about as you are.
Hmm.
And each and every one of us needs to take away from today that you are a miracle from the divine spirit. You are loved and you are perfect. There's no way that you can do this wrong. And you can also take some steps to open the windows, to let the light in and grow or expand so that maybe you can do things differently, perhaps by judgment or definition, do things better
Hmm. Hmm.
in each and every moment.
Hmm.
What do you think, Lord? Do you have something else before we begin to wind this down?
Well, I just want to mention that we do at Tree of Life Sanctuary, we do intend to offer a community connection, a group. We want to start a group in January of 26, ideally, to support people that want to learn more about how to do this, how to, in particular, get clarity on what their personal life purpose or mission is. Um, we at Tree of Life Sanctuary, we do not charge for this kind of group support. We hope that it will inspire people to donate to the Tree of Life Sanctuary. We are a 501c3 not for profit in Washington State, and we have our website, treeoflifesanctuary.org, where you can learn a whole lot about us. However, just know that a big part of why we exist is to support people who may not financially be able to purchase some sessions or a course with a coach, for example, a life coach or a spiritual coach. So this is an opportunity for us to be supportive, and we're thinking that we may have guest speakers over time. It would be, I imagine, once a month type of gathering. And of course, the Tree of Life Sanctuary has a lot of trusted resources, we call them, people that we know are good at what they do that are available for one-on-one support if somebody is looking for that. And then we have the Seekers Library in Bellingham, Washington. That's where we're based, which is an awesome library. So that's what I'd like to know is this something that our community and others that are looking for a community like the Tree of Life Sanctuary would like to see happen. And like John said, we really would like to know where people watching this that would want this reside to help us decide whether we need to do it virtually or online, or if we have enough people in the Pacific Northwest corner of the country where Tree of Life Sanctuary has its Seekers Library, uh, to make it worth having in person.
Yeah, I could foresee if our community grows that we could go on the road also and have meetings or conferences or workshops other places, but that's for
Yeah,
our future.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
definitely for our future. And
yeah.
if you're just new to considering what your legacy is and how you want to live without other people's expectations and you want to live in an authentic, in the moment way of being of service to our world, please join us at whatever level you can so
Mhm.
that we can not only support you and you can support other people that are going through this
Mhm.
consciousness expansion.
Mhm.
Everything that you will have to say when you get the chance to interact with us, everything has great value to
Oh,
us.
yes.
Even if
Mhm.
you show up and you're just that witness,
Mhm.
it's, it's of
Mhm.
service to whoever the speaker is, just to be heard
Yep.
and supported
Absolutely.
that way.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
without leaving, without leaving without this said, I just want
Mhm.
to remind everybody, you tuned in for a reason. Somehow you found this. I don't know what
Yes.
the magic was, but let me just tell you from my heart that you are a blessing and the world is a better place because of what you do and how you are in our world. So keep up the good work. And if you want to do it even gooder, okay, that means me being funny. If you want to do it better, you can do that as well.
Can I close with a quote from the Daily Tao, one of the books that I read for inspiration, on the topic of purpose? One's life is not easily revealed. It's too big. You may certainly set your sights early, but you will still have to make changes and adjustments as your true purpose is clarified. When it does begin to come together, there is a tremendous feeling of assurance. Then, with each step upon your path, your certainty rings from peak to peak.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
And thank you for tuning in. Please share this information or our community at the Tree of Life Sanctuary if it's appropriate. And please do not hesitate to contact us and somehow get involved in whatever way you have the time and energy to do. We would love to hear from you. And uh, I I have to acknowledge Laura Abernathy for all of the great work that she's doing to bring her dream, her legacy to be of service to all of us.
Mhm.
So thank you, Laura.
Everybody's welcome, and I thank myself, and I thank Source and my inner guidance, my connections, because I couldn't be doing this without them, that connection, and everybody that's you know dancing this dance with me. Everybody, nothing great is ever accomplished alone. So,
Great. Thank you. And
eh,
my name is Dr. John Mason, Tree of Life Sanctuaries in the Pacific Northwest. Um, let some light shine on you and share that light and brilliance with whoever you visit with or see today. Thank you.
thank you, John.